Continuing on the fallout of the NSA disclosures by Edward Snowden and the reverberations of that, there are a couple of pieces of important news. Sam, if nobody has seen or watched this yet, Senator Wyden gave a great speech on the development of secret law and the surveillance program at the Center for American Progress last week. Sam did a thorough and brilliant rundown of the speech, which, you can get all of the main points of it watching Sam's rundown, but so take a look at it. So some people like Wyden and other people in Congress are taking this very seriously. And a big shift has happened. I think one of the frames that people have had around this issue is like, well, it's a big deal, or maybe you don't think it's a big deal, but the American people don't really care. They don't want to get into the intricacies of it. They don't want to deal with it. They just want to be protected from terrorism. Well, a new thorough Pew poll, which really has been one of the most comprehensive measures of public opinion on these programs since the latest round of disclosures, has shown that a majority of Americans, 56%, say that federal courts fail to provide adequate limits on the telephone and internet data the government is collecting as part of its anti-terrorism efforts. And an even larger percentage, 70%, believe that the government uses this data for purposes other than investigating terrorism. Which is fascinating because, as we've said on the show, we don't know. In fact, certainly could be, but the whole issue is how we're defining terrorism, how we're defining threats. That concern is clearly translating into the polling. And there's a number of other, 63% think the government is gathering too much information about the content of our communications. And I think for the first time since September 11th, more Americans are concerned about civil liberties and terrorism. Now, again, these are not mutually contradictory goals. You can preserve and safeguard civil liberties and not do these massive, insane overreaches we have and still address the threat of terrorism. But it's an important shift from a public opinion perspective. Now, attached to that are senators, including Wyden, who has been a leader on this issue and pushing on this issue for a long time, but also Dick Durbin. Now, Dick Durbin's interesting because Dick Durbin is a liberal, but he's very much the Obama point man in the Senate, if Obama has a point man. They've both come out and called the FISA court anachronistic and outdated, which is really important because we know, and as Sam has said again and again, a key part of this program and is what has led to the massive overreach in this program is the secret law that's being developed by the FISA court. The FISA court is a non-adversarial court. It hears the government's side, and it rules often in favor of the government, which has led to an increasing expansion of these dragnet surveillance and data collecting programs. And Senator Wyden has said, quote, over the weekend, in particular, the FISA court is anachronistic and they are using processes that simply don't fit the time. I think that's a crucial point. When we talk about this program, and as a matter of fact, I think when we talk about the future of consumer safety in businesses that are built off of big data, which is basically what Facebook and Google and other businesses that function off of generating profiles and user data, our whole regulatory frameworks and apparatuses and guiding assumptions are so far behind the technology, and people with the power and vested interest in these programs developing in certain ways don't have an interest. Rights are asserted, rights are taken. They're not given and they're not bestowed. So I think that that's the other real takeaway from this program in general, is that we're in a time of unprecedented technological transformation, collection of data both voluntarily and involuntary, and we don't have the frameworks, legal, structural, or policy-wise, to govern them yet. So it's very important that Wyden and Durbin also said, speaking on Sunday to ABC, Durbin said they should be a real court proceeding. In this case, it's fixed in a way. It's loaded. There's only one case coming before the FISA, the government's case. Let's have an advocate for someone standing up for the civil liberties to speak about the privacy of Americans. Again, that's Senator Durbin, who has a reputation of something of a liberal, but is very close to the Obama administration. So, perhaps that's a signal. And there's also another move in the House. to take the power to appoint FISA judges away from Justice Roberts, who currently appoints the FISA judges. Now, again, the policy response is going to have to be comprehensive, and there's going to be many different factors. But those disclosures and the debate have really shifted. They're having an effect. And I would argue that not only do we need a discussion about the NSA and about FISA and about how we're interpreting these laws and really preserving civil liberties in this age, we need to talk about how these issues play out in the corporate sector as well. I think in some respects that might pose the most deep and profound long-term problem. But anyway, good moves on the FISA court.